So Hypnotic is the newest Netflix original thriller. Would not go as far as to call this a horror movie.
No.
More of a thriller.
Yeah.
And this stars Kate Siegel, which is 99% of why people would be watching this.
Mm-hmm.
She's made quite the little name for herself, having now been in tons of Mike Flanagan projects, obviously, because she's not only a great actress, but also his wife. So, in this one, we follow a character named Jennifer, who has went through some rough times, and her friend recommends her this psychiatrist who specializes in hypnotherapy. Except for this doctor is not using hypnotherapy with the best of intentions. And that's as much as we need to say on that. I'll let you go first.
I liked it alright. I found some things to be a little unrealistic, but it's a movie, so
Yeah.
that can be overlooked. But overall, I enjoyed it, and I think she's a fantastic actress. So everything that I've seen her in, I've enjoyed because of her acting, at least as one part of it. So, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, if you're here for her, she's she's her. She's good like she always is, right? Sure. Now, the believability factor, sure. I definitely think this is movied up. That being said, my knowledge of hypnotherapy and how it works and to what extent is none. I don't know what the realistic, but we know how films operate, right? They play within their own logic and their own reality. And as long as they don't break their own rules or go so far out of the realm of reality that they lose their audience, the audience is willing to forgive a lot, right?
Yes.
We're there to be entertained. We're not there to get a fucking, medical license. So, okay. The film is okay. Did I like it? I suppose. It's fine. It's watchable. It's mostly watchable because of our lead actress here. And that's why I'm here. But the film is extremely predictable. I called almost everything that happened, and if I didn't, she did. Right?
Yeah,
there were things that I was like, oh, it's probably this. And she's like, no, it's probably this. And if we ever said that, one of us was correct. I called one the second it happened. And that it wasn't even a setup for it at all. I just knew instantly, So that's an issue. But a film being predictable isn't so terrible as long as the film is still entertaining and good. That's something I'm willing to forgive. I don't really care. But the film takes no risks at all. And that bugged the hell out of me. This is a film that has tons of potential. They could have taken this into so many dark places. This guy could have manipulated her and other people into doing all sorts of wild shit. This could have had a huge, amazing twist ending. This could have had lots of really wild kills. And here's the thing. When you're under mind control, there's an emotional element there as well that you're not in control of your actions. And so during intense scenes, you know that. And that adds another layer of intensity to a scene because you know that the killer is just as innocent as the victim, right? So if you can really play around with that, you can get a great emotional reaction out of your audience because you're like, they're in on it, right? They know what's going on. And this film really never does that. It plays with it a little bit, but very little, and it does not use its potential at all. The only thing it properly utilizes, for the most part, is its lead actress. The film's shot well, looks good. All the actors are, besides her, are good. They're fine. They're serviceable. That's all fine, right? Like the technical aspects of the film are fine, behind the camera kind of stuff. But it's the writing It's the writing that's the issue here. It's just too generic. They didn't take any risks at all. There's nothing memorable about this film outside of its plot. And that's really going to be triggered mostly by the title. You're going to be like, oh, it's, Hypnotic. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, the Hypnotist film. And there's not going to be much else to remember. It's just kind of going to be like, oh, yeah, I saw that. It was whatever. And I just feel like with a film like this, you gotta take your concept, and that's just your concept is everything. You want to properly utilize the concept you come up with, right? Like, so, as we all know, the way we come up with stories is we come up with concepts, and then we try to use those concepts to the max amount of ability we can. We really like stretch that idea and be like, oh, okay, so he's a hypnotherapist. This means he can get into her mind and he can control this part of her and he can control this part of her. He can really start fucking up her life with this and this and this. And I just feel like this movie takes that to maybe like a 2 or a 3. And other movies can take that to a 12 and not in a good way. Where it's like, okay, this is too much. And there's even a point in the movie at the very, very end where she had said something like, oh, what if this happens? And then she like kind of immediately was like, that would be too much. And I agree. You can take it too far. You can lose your audience, but it's about finding that balance. It's about finding that blend between what's plausible and what's too much for the audience to lose. And this film just... it plays everything way too safe. It's concerning itself much more with small drama, and I feel like there's such opportunity within this, and it's a shame to see it happen in a movie like this with the talent that you had at your fingertips. I feel like there could have been something so good here, and it's very forgettable. It's just a very forgettable film. It reminds me of a Lifetime movie, except for not all men are shit in this. Right? There's actually like good guys in this. It's really just a guy is bad.
Only one.
Right? Only one, as opposed to every single fucking guy in the film.
Thriller Lifetime movie. Yeah. I agree with you. I think it was really generic, and that they could have taken more risks. And honestly, it could have been more of like a, mind-bending, reality questioning.
Absolutely.
Like, all of that would have been
should have been
really
questioning
cool
the reality of what she was seeing the entire film.
And that definitely doesn't happen. I mean, there's some moments where you're like,
we called every single time where it was happening.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, this is hypnosis. This is she's not really saying this or this shit. It's very obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, so I agree. I think there could have been a lot more done with the concept, but aside from the writing and the lack of risks, everything else you said, I agree with too. The acting is, great with everybody, and it looks like, it looks really, really nice. It's filmed well, but I think maybe some people, if you have like a phobia of hypnotism, it might be scarier than how we perceived it, but even then, like, it's really not that intense.
Yeah.
So, I would have liked to see a lot more out of it.
Absolutely.
A lot more with the... Yeah.
Absolutely. They had a really cool opportunity to start this movie off with a bang, and they didn't capitalize on it. Is this film PG-13? Because I would not be surprised if it was.
There was
I don't think there's anything in this that would make it anything over PG-13. Do you think?
No.
I don't remember anyone even cussing in this movie. Did we hear an F word or anything?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I don't remember any.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is probably like TV 14. Yeah, and it feels it.
Yeah.
But if that opening started with like a real gory opening, that would have been cool. That would have set a really interesting tone. Now, it wouldn't have fit this film. Had something crazy like that happened, and then the rest of the film played out exactly the same, I'd be like, what the fuck? So it does fit the tone of this film, because this film is really watered down, and they're not really taking a lot of risks. They're not doing anything all that interesting. And, man, just being able to get in someone's head, really fuck with their fears, bend reality, make them try to figure out whether they're in reality or not. Man, this film does not land that at all. At all.
No.
So this is a dud for me. This is not a recommendation. I'm not recommending anyone watch this. Like middle of the road, forgettable movies to me are the biggest sin you can commit as a competent director. Right? Like when I watch shit films, I just sit there and I think, all right, everyone on set's incompetent. Right? But when you watch movies like this, I know the competency's there. So it feels like either studio interference or lack of ambition or vision, or there's something else going on here. It's not so much talent as it is almost cowardice. Like, I'm not going to take any risks. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to do a real bland film. And that's just kind of unforgivable to me. Like, if you don't have talent, you just don't have talent. Or you went for broke and it just didn't work out. And I get that too. It's not always going to work out. You got to swing for the fences, and you're gonna have some foul balls. You're gonna have some strikeouts, but sometimes you're gonna hit a home run. And I think that this film never had the chance of hitting a home run with the way they played it out. So I don't think that they went into, like, when this script was written, it wasn't like a passion project. Right, a labor of love. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to get this made. Like, this is so fucking generic. I could write this in my sleep.
Maybe you are asleep.
Maybe I am. So yeah, I think I've said my piece. You?
Yeah, I mean, I agree for the most part. I don't feel that there was a lot of passion. I don't know.
I have more passion against this movie than this movie had.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're an artist, I think you should take risks, and it's kind of, I think one of the points of being creative is to sort of play around with messy stuff and things that are maybe not generally accepted, and especially with film. But it can also, I think, be hard for people to bring those visions to life. So I don't know what the director or the writer was really thinking when they made this, or what was kind of going through their head, but I do think some people would enjoy it. It's definitely not a movie that we generally like, the style at least, and that's a shame, but it wasn't like a complete waste of time. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah.
Thought we had an alright time watching it, but mostly that was our commentary.
It was us trying to figure out the mystery.
Yeah.
Hoping
that it was going to be something else.
I probably suggested 50 things during this film that would have made it 10 times better.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, what if this? And she's like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. And yeah, of course, none of those came to fruition. But all the ones that I was real lukewarm on, I was like, this will probably happen.
Yeah,
and then she was like, oh, no, this will probably happen. And those are the things that happen. All the things we were unenthused about.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just kind of meh. But
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's not a good thing.
Yeah. No, not a good thing. I would rather actually hate a film. Because at least then it's like, again, you have the passion of, like, I fucking hate this.
I want to hate a film
that
took risks.
Yes.
I don't want to hate a film that's generic and bland like this, but even more egregiously so that I hate it. That's even worse. Oh my god. That bland? Holy fuck. I've watched movies like that. It's a rough time. But yeah. I think I had something else that came to my mind there. Totally lost it. We had no think of it, but whatever it is. But anyways, all right. Well, we're out. Kaylee, go to sleep.